guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video has been very highly requested since I asked you guys what kind of content you'd like to see during this period of time, and it is how to timetable and plan your time during this period of staying at home and being in isolation. How to be like the most productive and most efficient you can be given the circumstances, and just how to get everything that you want to do done. So I do want to stress that in this video I am going to be talking about online classes and any sort of like schoolwork that you might still have going on. If you'd like me to do a separate video talking about how you can plan your time if you don't have online classes and if you don't have any schoolwork to be doing, then please let me know, because my Easter holidays start next week anyway, which means I'm not going to have any online classes anymore. So I'm pretty much going to be in that position, especially because my exams are also now cancelled for first year. So let me know if you'd like that. But in this video I'm going to be talking about how I've planned my time over the last week when I do have online classes and I do have university work to be doing. So in this video I am going to be talking about timetables, but I'd just like to stress that you do not have to timetable your time. If you just want to have more free time and you just want to take time to do things that you enjoy, that is absolutely fine. In this time you need to prioritize your well-being, so whatever works best for you, do that. But for me, if I want to be productive, if I want to get lots of stuff done, a timetable is the best format for me, because even though I don't stick to it to the dot, I don't do everything at the time that I said I was going to do it, I use it more as a to-do list. And I've just found over the years a timetable is the best way for me to stick to doing things and keep myself motivated to do them. So just like during A-levels, I make my timetables on Microsoft Word. They are literally nothing fancy at all. It is just a table. So however many across, I think I did 6 across, and then however many down as a table. I can try and link this down below as a downloadable document if you'd like. Not sure how to do that, so if it's down there in the description, I've worked out how to do it. If it's not, then I've got no idea and you're gonna have to let me know. So how I started planning my time is I firstly went through my university timetable. Obviously I'm not at university anymore, but the first thing that I wanted to put on my timetable was when my normal class times would be. So my timetable at home is technically also based off my timetable at university, because I know everywhere's doing it differently, but a lot of my online lectures and classes are still at the same time that my classes would be, or the resources get released around that time as well. Then after I've done that, I started adding some structure to the days. So I set a set time in which I'm going to get up every day. So for me that's 9 AM. I know that's not super early, but I don't have anything until 10 AM. The earliest thing I have is this economics seminar, so there's no real need for me to get up super early in the morning. Like, I don't really have a lot to do then, so I allowed myself a line until 9 AM. The next thing I then wrote down is do a workout or yoga or go for a walk at 10, and it doesn't really matter if I do this at 10 or not. I could do it later in the day, I could do it earlier if I got up slightly earlier, but I've put down every day to do some form of physical activity, because I think this is so important for your physical and your mental health during this time. And so far I've really been sticking to this. I've been doing yoga in the garden because it's been such lovely weather at the moment. I've been going for walks with my sister, so I think it's really important to do something every day that gets you out the house. Obviously you can only really do it once in a day because that's what the government said, but it's just important to do something, whether it's at home or outside. Then I set a time to have lunch, so most of the time this will be around 1 o'clock. On Monday it wasn't because I had an online lecture at that time, but yeah, most days it is at 1 o'clock, as you can see by this little row here. Then as you can see, my timetable only actually goes on until 6 PM, because after 6 PM I've just let that time be free so that I can FaceTime friends, I can do fun things like playing The Sims. I've recently become obsessed with The Sims again. Just relax and do things that I enjoy doing. Obviously I do these during the days as well, like I'll just sometimes randomly FaceTime my friend in the middle of the day. As I said, this isn't a super strict timetable, it's more of a to-do list personally. So yeah, but that's my time off in the evenings. Therefore, having a time to get up in the morning, a time to finish working, a time to have a break in the middle of the day, it forms a structure for your day that you can then start working your other activities and things that you want to do around. Just like school starts at a certain time, you have a break at a certain time at school, and school finishes at a certain time. So it's just maintaining some form of structure and routine in your life. I think this really helps to keep you motivated and to keep you being as productive as possible in this time. So then the next thing that I did is I actually wrote a list of all the things that I needed to do this week. So for me, this was basically all of last week's lectures on top of this week's lectures. I basically did nothing last week just because I was in Nottingham, then I was in Leeds, and then I was back in Nottingham, and it was just a lot of back and forth, and then I was with Max, and basically, long story short, I just didn't do much uni work. So I had all of last week's online lectures and classes and resources to catch up on, along with this week's. And because I'd already inputted when my usual class times would be, it gives me deadlines throughout the week for when to complete that work that I need to catch up on. Obviously, this only really applies if you're like me and you're running behind on everything. If you're not, then this doesn't really apply, but I think it's still good to set yourself deadlines and make sure that you're doing everything as accurately as you would be if you were in school and university or wherever. So say you've got a specific class or lecture on a Tuesday, catching up by Tuesday and then doing that work on Tuesday just to keep your structure as normal as possible. So once I then had this list of things that I needed to do, I obviously then started inputting it on my timetable. So like I said, I did it before my normal class time would be. So for example, I have my Contemporary Business Lecture 9 on Tuesdays at 4 till 6, that's my normal class time, but I hadn't done the previous week's lecture, so on Monday I did my Contemporary Business Lecture 8 at 4. So then when it comes to Tuesday, I'm fully caught up and I can do that at its normal time. Although saying that, I actually did do it on Wednesday. But you get the general gist. And I know that timetables can get quite confusing if you've got lots of different things going on. For example, your normal timetable along with work that you need to do and other things. So I find that colour coding is so useful. So for me, if it's highlighted in green, it means do the work at that time. So 11 till 12, I needed to do my business and society lecture. And then in blue, I highlighted where my normal class would be if I was at university. And then in purple is anything YouTube related, because obviously that's something that I've got to fit into my week as well. But once you've put all of your university or schoolwork down, it's then really important to input other things. If anything, it's more important to do this before your university work, but I'm just talking you through the order in which I did it. So obviously I've already put physical activity down. I think that's such an important thing to do, whether it's going out for a walk, whether it's doing something in your garden. As I said earlier, it doesn't really matter. I just think it's important to do something. But then you also need to factor in any extra things that you have, such as hobbies or just things that you want to learn, anything that you want to do in your spare time. Now is a great time to start doing those things that you've been putting off for months. So for example, for me, I always mean to do more art. I love painting so much and I always mean to make the time for it, and then I just never do. But you literally have no excuse now, and I feel like if you put it down on a timetable like this, it makes you so much more responsible to do it because you've made the time to do it. So when it comes to it, you'll be a lot more motivated to actually sit down and do it. So for me, as I showed you on my timetable, I have a lot of YouTube work that I need to do this week in terms of planning videos, filming videos, editing videos. So that is sort of like my extra thing. I think it's really important to have something extra alongside your schoolwork and alongside anything like that you need to work on, to give yourself another thing to focus on, because just doing schoolwork in this time is probably not great for your mental health or your well-being. It's really good to sort of mix it up and do other things that you enjoy as well, so this time is not all negatively spent. Obviously doing schoolwork is not a negative thing at all. I just mean it's good to have more than one focus in your day and to spend time doing things that you really enjoy. So as I said, this is YouTube, but for you it could be a hobby, it could be learning an instrument, learning a new language, just something else. I think it's really important. I'm well aware that timetables can be quite an intimidating thing and lots of people get stressed out with it, but I think if you use it as more of a to-do list, like I said, I don't stick to my timetable meticulously. If I've written down that I'm going to do something at 11 and I end up doing it at 3 p.m, it's really not the end of the world. Just as long as you do it in that day, you'll be okay. The only thing that starts becoming a problem with timetables is if you don't complete everything in a day and it starts running over to the next day and it starts running over to the next day. But if you set yourself achievable goals each day for what you can do in that day, whether it's schoolwork, whether it's learning something, whether it's doing something to do with your hobby, then you should be able to get it done, and it will give you a nice structure in which you can complete all the activities that you want to do, and by the end of the day you'll feel accomplished, you'll feel like you've been productive, which is just what we want in this time, really. So yeah, I hope this has somewhat helped you start to plan your time if you want to get things done and you want to be productive and you want to make the most of this time. I know it is such an odd situation for us all to be in, and it's hard for me to sit and give you advice when I'm living through it for the first time just like everyone else is, but I hope this will help you. This is what's really helped me this past week, and as I said at the start of the video, if you'd like me to do it where you don't have schoolwork and you don't have specific class times, then let me know, because I'm gonna have Easter holidays for the next 4 weeks, which means that element of my timetable is gonna disappear. So yeah, let me know, but I hope this has helped. Let me know once again if you would like any other content during this time specifically, if there's anything you think would be really helpful for everyone. But if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and follow my social media, which will be linked down below in the description. Bye guys!